what it's doing. When I click it onto live chat, it just falls off. I don't know why. I'll try it again. Just put it on live chat and then it spins. This time it's not spinning. I don't know. Here's what it is. It's definitely cooler tonight. It's an air of the Antarctic.
Yeah, it looks like it. That's what makes me tired.
Yeah, cold weather is good sleeping weather.
I get real cold because I'm tensing up to stay warm.
The plane's low, isn't it?
Mm.
We're going tomorrow. Yeah. See, what we should do is take the fans down and look at air conditioning. I'm figuring something like an 8 kilowatt would do the lounge in the kitchen area. And just, we've got a 3.5 in our room and only a 2.5. No, actually the two 2.5s, aren't they, in the bedrooms. And the lounge is 3.5.
Yeah.
We're probably going to need 2.5s for our rooms, right?
Yeah. I think
Or maybe
so.
3.5
Oh, in our room, yeah.
Yeah.
A smaller one in the spare room.
in the office.
Yeah.
And then the 8 kilowatt in the big area. Wouldn't mind a ducted vault just over the kitchen, like here. One there, one in the dining and one in the lounge.
Yeah.
Even though it's just the one room, you know, you can feel the
Yeah. Yeah.
air.
So that will be a ducted system then.
Yeah, but you can duct just the one big room.
Yeah.
Or if they say it's not necessary, because the lounge in there gets cold quickly. It's quite a big area in the lounge there.
Yeah.
It's 5x4.
It depends how you have it positioned and how the air blows.
Yeah. Let the experts tell us. I'm guessing around 8 kilowatt. Solar's still going to be around about 17, 18, all up, but that's with batteries.
And where are you putting all that?
What do you mean?
Or where are the batteries
Oh,
at?
batteries can go in the shed or they'll go on the wall. They look quite good. They're not batteries like you think.
No, but not inside the house.
But no, don't have to. You can have them outside, mounted on the wall. About 10 kilowatt on top. 6 kilowatt at the moment. It's only about $3,000. I might as well go to 10. Have this north facing and northwest facing, and the back full of panels. The brickies will be about 2.5 days bricking up. But there'll already be sand in the middle.
The stuff for the patio we picked is non-slip, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Definitely non-skid. We've got wet grandkids running up from the pool area.
Oh, I just don't remember reading it, so I'm asking.
Yeah, no, it's definitely non-skid. You can go and view it if you like. They've got samples you can look at. Either way, these babies have got to come up in the next few weeks. About 80 square metres of paper though.
Yeah.
Which is more than enough to go all the way down there, around the back, into the back patio. As like a path. Very quiet in the city today, wasn't it?
The traffic going there wasn't.
I mean people.
Yeah.
Quite quiet. Thursday. Maybe everyone does the late night shopping Thursday in the city. The crazy guy that came up to us was funny.
It wasn't
Just
crazy.
started telling his life story straight away.
It wasn't crazy, he was just telling a story.
Bright city lights gonna set my soul on fire. Donate now. There goes the plane. Can you see the plane? Probably not. You can just see it. It's very low. Somewhere there. Here it is. Look, there's a blue spaceship flying around in jagged movements. Hello, Danny. Getting ready for work. Oh, gotta work, I suppose. Earn a living, all that sort of thing. Pay the piper. But, it's a bit cold here tonight. We're wimps. We think, 15 degrees is cold. When the wind comes, you got a little bit of wind now, so that's why it's cold. So what you've been up to, Danny? What you've been doing? This is Thursday morning for you, so one more day of work tomorrow. Weekend off. We had hundreds and hundreds of grey-black parrots fly over us today. I didn't even catch most of them. We just watched it for about 5 minutes, didn't we? And then I filmed the last little bit of it. Like they were running away from, or flying away from something. But, oh well. Parrots do what parrots do. We had a lovely lunch today with a secret person. Not telling.
Why?
Because we're not. 12 hour shift, 4 days a week. Yep, I've done 12 hour shifts. I did them for years. When you get your first day off, you just seem to waste it. It's like you just sleep. Any first day off after night shift in particular, or even day shift, you're just knackered. I used to turn on to watch a movie and I'd watch the beginning and I'd wake up near the end and think, I wonder what happened in the middle. Shift work definitely affects you, whatever people tell you it does. We had a little walk around before we went to the restaurant today and it was like little Chinatown. Even though at the end of that little quadrangle was quite a few Chinese stores, like food stores.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah. Should have stuck my nose in there. G'day, JP. How you going, mate? All right? So planning on doing my Vegemite video. Ooh, you're not excited. You're living in fear. Just a little smear on a bit of toast, not much. Me, layer the bugger on. In layers. You, being a novice,
I ain't finally
you definitely want to spread it thin. My wife only has it thin, but I like it layered on.
do it thin.
Mate of mine once ate a whole jar of Vegemite. We were camping, run out of bread. He said, geez, I'm hungry. It was only a little jar, probably about so big. Got a spoon and ate the lot. It's bouncing off the walls after that.
Yes, it has to be thin.
Danny, just a word of advice, and JP's there and the missus is here, and they'll back me up. Get a nice bit of bread, butter it, get a couple of bits of thin cheese, put it on the other side just smear a bit of Vegemite, fold it over. Bread, butter, cheese one side, a little bit of Vegemite there, fold it over. Because cheese and Vegemite
Yes.
are a marriage.
It goes well with You need to have the butter. Don't put it just straight on bread.
You'll thank me.
Just try it on a bit of toast, butter.
Cheese.
You know, just try it on its own first. Then
Trying to break her in, not trying to kill her. She was threatening just to get her husband to try it. And I'm thinking, nah, Danny's got to do it. Yes, JP, today we had lunch with a mysterious beauty. Yeah. Not telling.
why?
Secret.
Everyone knows.
Secret. Very lovely lady. Yeah, there's more chance of me having lunch with Neil Armstrong, JP. Seriously. And he's dead. No, we went to a nice Chinese restaurant. Ordered all sorts of little things. Yeah, no, it wasn't Aussie. He wasn't wearing tight denim jeans, that's for sure.
Have one more guess, JP, and then I'll tell you. Because it's no secret.
That's a secret.
Oh, it is not.
Top secret.
I probably can't think of anyone to guess.
Yeah, you got it. It was your mum. She's hot, mate. I'm telling you. Son, that's what I'll call you from now on. No, not your mum. That was a good lunch, though. We owe you a lunch, actually, JP. You have to come over. I'll feed you. Yeah, the wife's actually going to steal that video, Danny, and do something with it. The clouds were that dark colour.
Well, it was, yeah.
And there were hundreds and hundreds of these birds. We sat and watched them for most of the time. Then I got my camera out. I thought, I'll film a bit of this. I missed most of it.
We missed the best part of it when they first flew over. Exactly what I thought. The birds.
Yeah, she's in Mandurah, which is about
40 minutes
45
train,
minutes away.
Drive. And she puts videos up, JP. They're just of her dogs, so we didn't put her on camera.
No,
we didn't want to.
I was never going to film.
No.
Just like I wouldn't film when JP was there. You don't do that.
No, but he jumped in front of the camera.
Well, he did.
We started his debut.
Yeah, we started your career,
Yeah.
JP. All the ladies went wild after that. No, that's how it starts, mate. You're on like Seed's Got Talent, and you're the winning performer. But we all know you live up the Gold Coast, a fair way away. So did the men. What does that mean? Oh, the men went after him as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, you loved it universally. From top to bottom, if you like. You must have a heap of... we've already put some videos up. I must give you credit there. But you must have a lot more videos from travelling.
Yeah, he said he did, but he's got his family in it.
No, we don't.
So
put
he
them
can't
up.
put
Yeah,
that
no,
up.
That's fair enough. But I had some crispy pork thing
That was nice.
with a hot dipping sauce. That was nice. Wife ordered beef udon noodles. That was quite nice.
No, oh no, it was something else in the end. Beef something else.
Yeah, but it had udon noodles in there. And bean sprouts. And then we had some morning glory. You know what that is, JP? You've been overseas. Bit of, I think it was mainly hoisin, do you think, on there?
I don't know, but it was nice.
Yeah, a bit of hoisin and blanched morning glory. Yeah, this is more your tapas type Chinese restaurant. You know when they bring the big trolleys around, JP? You've seen them overseas.
It was yum
And
cha.
you can get whatever you like yum cha, bits and pieces.
Yeah, yum cha. Just
And they
called.
keep bringing over trays saying, "Do you want some of this?" I went, "No, mate, I'm good." Another Chinese lady, "Do you want 3 of these?" "No,
Yeah, it was
leave me alone."
It was very filling.
Yeah.
And they were very busy.
I don't know if JP knows. We got the all clear, JP, from the council. The green light's given. So we'll be doing something in a couple of weeks' time, starting anyway. So that's good. Yeah, it's like anything like that. Like if you ever go to a Spanish restaurant, you think, oh, a little bit of this, a bit of that. Before you know it, it's like $100. But it's good. It was good food today. I never complain when I go out to eat. I'll be thrifty when I shop for myself, but we don't complain when we go out to eat.
Well, if we don't like it, we just don't go back.
I mean, we like different. We're more Malay and Thai food eaters, you know.
And I mean, in any restaurant, doesn't matter who it is, what it is.
No, that's right. I mean, I said to this mysterious person today, she said, "What do you think of that?" "Oh, I don't like that." She said, "What about that?" I said, "I love that." "What about that?" "No, I don't like that." You got to speak your mind. And some of the food was magnificent. But that's how you learn. You taste it and go, That's how you make your mind up. But not tasting stuff is not the way to go. But we're not really big eaters. In general, we have about a meal a day, and we're good now till tomorrow. Here come the police. I'll have to turn the light off. Can't see me now. See? That fooled them. Yeah, the birds this morning were eerie. Macca's. Yeah, I eat it, but then I regret it. I just feel like this big lump in the stomach. Can anyone make conchas near you? I'm not sure if your pronunciation is what I think it is. Explain what it is, Danny.
Is that the shellfish, the thing in the
No.
shell?
No. No, it wouldn't be that. Sounds Mexican to me, or Spanish. No, that's what the wife said, JP. I don't think she wouldn't be going after a feed of conchas because you'd only have one. Yeah, Mexican. I thought it was Mexican sweetbread. Actually, the Mexicans are funny. They love their sweet foods, don't they?
Mexican sweetbread.
They love all their sweets.
Isn't sweetbread also called the liver or not?
No, it's a little organ in a sheep in Australia, sweetbread. Yeah, goddamn, I can speak Texan like, yeah, go on, Monday it's going to be windy tomorrow, but today's not too bad. Everything's bigger in Texas. When you get a boil in your house in Texas, they clear the road. It's enormous. Got a few Texan friends, actually. If we do go to the US and get the opportunity, we will stop probably in Austin or Houston. Depends where our friends are closest. Lake said, "Hi, Mastic."
I know, because I said hi already.
Oh, did you? All right.
You missed that.
I'm going to have to stir a little bit of your carcinogenic brown stuff. Just a wee little tad. Thank you very much. You live near Houston? Cool. I've got about 4 friends in Texas. And we'll pick the airport, which is, you know what I mean, closest to most of them. Because Texas is a big state. 3 to 4 hours south of me. Oh, well, you can hop in the car, Danny. Hop in your Maserati with the open top and that gleaming pink vehicle of yours. The 19-inch wheels and stereo system. Dallas, Texas. She's a cheer girl. Cheerleader. No, I'm kidding. Texas is a big state, but you could probably fit Texas about 10 times in my state, Lake Shadow. I'm in the state of Western Australia, which is about half of Australia, just about. We have 7 deserts. Fort Worth. So even I know what that was, Danny. Dallas, Fort Worth. Morning, VMAC. Actually, your internal flights aren't too bad. Like if you fly, say, from one part of the US to another, it's only like $150, $130. That's not too bad. Like, costs you a lot more to drive, I imagine. One of the main reasons, I'm not frightened to drive in the US, but the main reason is if I go on holiday, I like to have a few drinks. Last thing I want to do is get DUI in the US, and then you've got to hire a car, whereas we'll probably go to areas where our friends are, and they'll pick us up. And if we're in an area we're just looking for historical values, we'll just get taxis. They're not that expensive, I hear, in the US. We used Uber today to go from where we are to the city, which is about 20 minutes away.
Yeah, because we didn't know where we were going.
Yeah.
We got the bus back home, but
Yeah, you got the bus back home, but going to was good. Now we know we can just get off at Central, walk across basically.
Oh, it's just Perth. Central is Sydney.
Well, I mean in the centre of Perth.
Perth train station.
Yeah, but I know, I've got mates in Texas too, and like, what's the state just north of Texas? That's where John works up and down.
Yeah.
What's that state, Lake Shadow, just north of Texas?
Oklahoma, that's it.
He goes up and down. He installs, I suppose, surveillance equipment like cameras and stuff in stores. And he goes up and down from, well, he goes all the way down to Fort Worth. I know he works all the state of Texas, and he goes up to Oklahoma. Apparently that's the range that he works in. So, but like I say, we're just trying to catch up with some friends we've known for a very long time. But don't like Texans in Oklahoma. It's funny though, there's a lot of rivalry in states in the US. Have you been to Dealey Plaza? No, Danny, I just stood on the grassy knoll. Wasn't me.
Maybe Danny's asking Lake Shadow.
I know she was. I was just being silly. Yeah, Lake was in the suppository building. Now that is funny.
What?
It was a Labor, but I call it the suppository building.
Oh.
We've got several in Australia now, like Uber, and it's so much cheaper than a taxi. Like if we got a taxi from here to where we went, $50.
And the other thing
Uber,
is,
20.
You're lucky to wait 3 minutes for one Uber. They're there.
They come. Yeah, they're within seconds they're here. You've slept on the grassy knoll. Okay. Did your foster get around for any, like, shells? Look.
Someone's home getting his dinner.
A lot of our friends, they don't travel much in the US. It's like they're very state bound.
Oh, I see there, Mac. Well, here they do. They have to be checked and whatever.
Yeah, no, he was my most admired president, by far. John F. Kennedy stood on so many people's toes that they decided that they didn't want him there. In fact, they tried to get rid of the whole clan, I've got to be honest.
So you just
They
got
managed with two of them, of course.
you just got taxis, VMAC, or
What's a 20-minute taxi ride worth where you are, VMAC? That's a good idea. I suppose that's 10 mile. What's a 10-mile taxi worth?
what's 10 mile in kilometres? 5.
16.
No, isn't it the other way?
No. For every 10 miles, it's 16 kilometres. Not letting the wife fly. Evening, passengers. This is Mystic Angels. We're about, I don't know, so many miles and kilometres away. I hope we got enough fuel. Please sit back and relax. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Oh, I took a left. Should have taken a right. Yeah, no, we do kilometres too. But I know miles because I'm old. I know feet and inches. I even remember half pennies, threepenny pieces, sixpence, a crown, half a crown, 5 bob. I think we changed in 66, didn't we? 67.
I remember, because I remember going to the butcher's with Mum and first time asking from pounds to kilos.
Dollars, yeah.
That confused
It
me.
buggered everyone up for quite a while. I'll have a pound of meat. We don't sell pound of meat anymore, son.
Yeah.
It's just kilos. Yeah, it's been one of those, as you think about it, like, it's been one of those extraordinary gifts we've been given. I mean, we come from an era where I didn't have television when I was a kid. And we've seen so much unfold technology-wise. The human race hasn't improved a damn inch. Still a bunch of mongrels killing each other. But technology is certainly advanced. No air conditioning when I was a kid. Yeah. I mean, I grew up in an area that was groovy, cool, chill, bonza. All these words just don't exist anymore. Yo, bro, chill, groovy, baby. Contro, remember Contro? You always had TV. I didn't. I saw television same day man landed on the moon. That's right, July 1969. I thought, what's that? Some person put their telly on the front veranda, and all of us were in the shade, hundreds of us, watching one bloke's television. Neil Armstrong dropping down from that ladder saying, one small step for man. He was thinking of his words at the time. That's why he's, oh, what have I got to say? One giant, oh shit, am I going to get this right? Leap for mankind. He graduated high school in 67. Well, you know what I mean then. Even food's changed.
Say hello to
I mean,
Carol.
I can tell you, fast food when I was a kid was fish and chips. That's it. Or you go to one of the Greek stores and they'd make hamburgers. Hello, Carol Kirkpatrick.
She had to kill a big spider this morning. She's not happy.
Who killed a spider?
Carol.
Why?
Carol, how do you feel? You murderer.
Well, I must admit, we don't kill anything either, but if we had to, we will.
If I can get it out or away with a dustpan and brush and flick it somewhere, I will.
I could make your spine crawl for a second. Probably about 3 or 4 years ago, hopped into a fresh bed. The wife just put fresh sheets on, and I hopped into bed and I laid down, and I felt like what was a marble, a rusty marble in the middle of my back. I quickly got up, and it was a black house spider, like what we call black widows,
Well,
lying on the bed.
black widow.
Got a piece of cardboard, took it out the back, let it fly away. No, it didn't really fly. But that puts the wind up here. Reason why I say the fresh sheets is obviously the bogo was on the sheet. You know what I mean? When the wife laid the bed out.
Well, how about when I went to the toilet? That friggin' huntsman.
Is it on your channel?
I think it's on my channel.
On the wife's channel, Carol, if you want to see a spider, it's a huntsman. And it's on the toilet roll.
I was sitting on the toilet.
Last year we went and looked after my wife's mum and we lived out the back with an outdoor dunny. And she went to grab the toilet roll and there's this bloody great big spider. She'll type in the room, Lake, so you can go and have a look. Actually, she's just put a heap of the trip we did to Europe.
I think
Ireland, Scotland, England and Germany. There's a heap of good video. She's very good. She had a flash camera. I just had my iPhone. Yeah, it's more funny than scary, Carol. A Toyota Huntsman.
Are you asking if ours is poisonous for you, make the huntsman? No.
It's got venom, but it's so big it can't get to you.
I'm sure I put it on my channel.
The truth is, when I was growing up, like Lake, life was just so very simple. We didn't come home and get on a computer. We sometimes didn't go home. We just went down the beach fishing, swimming, laughing, carrying on with your mates, body surfing, fossicking, you know, huckleberry fin stuff. Come home, eat, go to bed, do it all over again. Are you sharing a cigarette? No, it's marijuana. It's in a little black case, so when the police think, oh, it's a black case, obviously it's not marijuana. So then we just, you know, roll our own. Groovy. Cool. No, it's tobacco. Dave, no one here by that name. Dave, let me in. Dave's not home. One thing I notice, because I'm getting older too, is all the like film stars and great people of the planet die. And then, or you get to see them after about 15, 20 years and think, Jesus Christ, he's aged. Pull up a chair, Carol. You can borrow me lighter. But we lost an Australian icon yesterday. She was 94. And you've got your female cooks in America, you know, like Martha. Well, we had a lady called Margaret Fulton who revolutionised cooking in Australia. Instead of just having meat and 3 veg, she opened the world of different foods to us. He's looking old, is he? The Matrix Man. Yeah, we do smoke, but we've never smoked inside a house. I don't get that with people. I mean, cigarette tobacco is stinky. So smoke outside. Or don't smoke at all.
Maybe it's on your channel.
Is it on my channel, is it? Could be on my channel. Just type in YouTube search spider seeds to freedom. And if it's on my channel, it'll pop up. I thought you had it on yours.
So did I, but I can't see it. Yeah, there is on mine. I can't work out how to look up anything on the phone.
Yep, smoking outside's the game. Yeah, look, I mean, like I say, when all these people that you admire as actors or comedians or whatever, and you think, oh, that's terrible, that's no good, and then all of a sudden, like the other day, I just in my feed came up stars we'd lost in 2018. So I looked through about 3 of them, and I didn't realise some of these people had died. But you don't think of them in the, like, your neighbour, or you just think of them as, oh yeah, I remember watching them on telly. She freaked out about one spider, so she ain't going anywhere near the video.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
But I still enjoy, it must be how I was brought up, I still enjoy basic things like good earthy food, conversation. Yeah, it's funny, none of our kids smoke, none of them. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same, like. I actually like silent movies, strangely enough. I think they're very creative in what they did. But I do watch some movies that come out. I like a bit of sci-fi, I'll admit to that. And I like the Alien movie. I'm not a real big sequel person. I watched most of the big movies and I'm not following like the sequels because you already know the story. They just changed the script a bit. There's very few places, the same here. Like when we're in Perth today, we had a ciggy each. But you've got to look at the signs, because if it says no smoking and you're caught, it's like $1,000 fine.
Yes, we're in Australia.
Yep, we're in Australia, mate. Yeah, you're pretty lucky, like, because the 30s and 40s didn't have a lot of war movies. So you went after the 40s, eh? That's all we had for about 20 years. I did see in a ad, I went to watch someone's channel, and I don't mind watching the ads. And in the ad, it had the new Pearl Harbor movie. Don't know whether you guys had seen that.
Ha ha, JP.
What
Yes,
did he
it
say?
is Carl Carroll. JP says...
Yeah, we come from both people. We're both people. I come from Iran. I'm looking for a place to live. And not one shawarma can be found. Just these pie things. Everywhere you go, there's pies. Man does not live by pie alone. Wife, where's my camel?
It's probably about 10 degrees. That's cold for us.
Yeah, it's pretty cool here tonight. I bet it's cool where JP is. I know it's going to be cool.
No, we're not Kiwis.
If I said fashion chops, I'd be a Kiwi.
Carol, we're in Australia.
Hey, true blue. Carol, I'm looking at you. You've knocked off for a smoko, and JP's gone and done a poo. Hey, true blue. No, flip-flops not permitted. You and I had to sort of dress up today.
John Williamson, yes.
That's the one. JW. Good bloke. Met him actually. You met him too, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to his...
Yeah. Actually, I remember in the early 70s, 71 or 72, in my local town, north of Perth, where I grew up, biggest event ever in our town. Rolf Harris concert. Yeah.
Johnny Farnham went there too. We could...
Yeah, you know, we actually listened to the Johnny Farnham concert because it was just, we're on a bank of a river,
We went in
and the concert was on the other bank.
Yeah.
And that song's got Vegemite in it, JP. Kiwis is New Zealander. Kiwi is a bird, it's their national emblem. In Australia, we have two national animals on our national emblem. One is a kangaroo and the other one is an emu. And we eat both of them. We're the only nation on the planet that eats our national emblems. It's true.
Who'd you see?
It's more like a
VMAX?
menu than a national emblem.
You saw John Williamson VMAX.
Did she say that?
I don't know who she saw someone when he came on a tour. John Williamson or Rolf Harris?
I don't know. They're known as Kiwis or sheep shakers. Just kidding. But they are. Yeah. If you want to listen to a good Aussie song, just type in True Blue. BL. U-E. Actually, B-L-U, isn't it, really? It might be E in the search bar. They have knocked our forest and maker. Da 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 da. Hey, true blue. Is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo? Is it standing by your mates when they're in a fight? Oh, true blue. He sings it a bit better than I do. Yeah, I'll admit that. John's the man. Yeah, there's that one. That's mainly a Burke's backyard song, isn't it, really? Give me a home amongst the gum trees.
With lots of plum trees.
I go to the kangaroo. A lot of Aussie shows are all about renovating. It's a worldwide trend. Drives me nuts. They don't actually do any of the work. They get these contestants. There's a show called The Block. And they get 2 people and another 2 people and, you know, 5 or 6 couples. Then they get builders come in to build the bloody thing for them and they go, I want the blue paint. They're not doing any renovating. They're banging a few holes in the wall. It's all bullshit. Send them around here for the next 3 months. I'll make the buggers work.
JP, when's your album coming out? We know you can sing.
Yeah, JP, the word's out on the street. You're the man for singing. If you want to know a real Australian sort of singer, no longer with us. And it's got to do with what Carol hates. His name was Slim Dusty. And there was a toilet with a spider on it. That's a song.
Yeah, Changes is a good song, Danny.
What's the name of that song, do you know? There's a toilet on, is it? Last night when I...
Back on the toilet
That's
seat.
right, the red back on the toilet
last
seat.
night. He didn't... Oh, God.
I didn't see him sitting there,
Yeah.
but shit, I felt his bite. Slim Dusty. Hey Dave, how are you? My name's not Dave.
That's from the movie 2010. Hal. No, that's Hal.
Oh, it's Dave. I'm always good without the A. Come on, Dave. Put them together. Make a sentence.
It is...
Yeah, it is
7:40.
7:40 p.m. on the west coast of Australia. Yeah, but we've had quite a... You remember Slim Whitman? No, you probably wouldn't, JP. The same era as this Slim Dusty. But we've had some pretty good singers in Australia that have gone overseas and actors. If you ever meet like one of these world famous actors and they're Australian, they're probably down the beach having a barbecue.
See you, Danny.
What?
Have a good day.
See you, Danny. And they're probably just chatting to people. No one mobs them. We don't think it's a big thing. Like Chris Hemsworth goes surfing up and down our coast. And when people meet him, they go, "G'day, how you going?" "Yeah, good." I've met 2 of our prime ministers. No bodyguards, nothing like that. Well, one did, because he was a dickhead. But yeah, I had a beer with Bob Hawke. He's a good bloke. So we don't have that like, you know, I'm really famous, so don't come near me. Seeded must have left the BS. I've never been interested in the BS, Dave. Good conversation, good company. A couple of quiet ones. Bit of laughing, bit of ribbing. There's nothing wrong with a bit of ribbing. But I'm not interested in the drama and, well, let's say manufactured shit, basically. I'm not interested. Never have been. I have a very low tolerance. That's how my wheels spin. When I had lunch with another YouTuber today. She's a very lovely lady. very sweet. Had a great conversation for a couple of hours, I think. It was. Yeah. Most of it is a script we agree to. Obviously, I don't read the fucking script, Dave. No, we had a great lunch. It was yum cha, little bowls of Asian food everywhere. Some was good, some wasn't too good. Most of it was good.
Yeah, it just depends on
Company was good. She was a lovely lady.
Depends on the taste, eh?
Yeah. It's funny though, you know, Perth is a big city. You know, there's about 3 million people there. But obviously on Thursdays, it's like the whole streets were deserted for a movie shoot. We're sitting there, we're thinking, where's everybody?
There was a bit of road work happening though where we were.
Yeah, it could have been a bit of that, but we're in Wellington Street, right in the middle of Perth. Hardly anything. It's unusual. I thought there'd been a nuclear bomb dropped and everyone had gone to the shelters.
Even the bus wasn't that crowded when we got the bus home.
No, we took a Uber into town and we got the bus back. The bus just was out the front of our house, so why not? And the bus was quiet as well. It's funny, you know, one thing in Australia, you're going to find this quite unusual. In Australia, when people get off the bus, without exception, every passenger turns around and says to the driver, thank you.
Yep, we do.
Everyone. There was Asians, there was a Pakistani guy, a couple of Sri Lankans, an Indian, all different races in Perth. They all get off and they turn back to the driver and say thank you. So that's the difference. Do you know what I mean? Dave, it's the script. I didn't read all that. I don't get to see the messages too long. Yeah, it's just common courtesy, VMAC. The drivers are damn good too. Is the weed good over there? Actually, we just mowed the weeds yesterday. Shitloads. We don't have any rain, and we had rain for 2 weeks, and they're 3 feet high.
You'll have to ask what's his name. What's his name about that?
Who?
About the weed.
Marijuana will be legal in this country by early next year. It's not a big deal now. Seriously, no one gives a rat's ass. It's the other shit going around that kills people we're not happy with. But marijuana, it's never been an issue. I'm an ex-prison officer. Very few people, g'day Vinny, very few people go to jail for smoking marijuana. Now, if Vinny's growing 300 plants in a grow room, he's going to go to jail. But if Vinny's just taking on a few little happies, no one's going to bother him.
Carol, do you know Vinny? Ask Vinny. Ask Vinny about the weed. Is the weed good in Australia, Vinny?
Yeah.
I'm not saying.
I don't care if people smoke marijuana.
I'm
It
not
doesn't
saying
bother me.
Vinny smokes it.
Do you grow them in like a greenhouse, VMAC? I can tell you that the marijuana in the prison system is pretty good. Just about had to peel some of the prisons off the ceiling. Get down. But I'm not sure how they smuggle it in. I have a feeling it could be anal retention. I'll put a little bit of a tang on the taste of the cigarette. But no, never bothered me, never has bothered me. Drugs in general, make them all legal. I don't care what it is. Make them all legal because it's not the drug that's the problem. It's the criminality attached to it. Yeah, but do you have them in a greenhouse like we're getting plenty of sun but protected? Because I've got friends in Canada that grow a little bit and they definitely have, it's like hail mesh that you can put over your solar panels, VMAC. Do you know what I mean? What it does, it still lets all the light in, but little hail won't damage your plant, but big hail. Next time you can contact one of your solar people, they have what they call a solar guard. It's a little, like bird wire with strong mesh. And a lot of Canadians will put it over the top of their plants, gives them full sunlight. But what that means is that when the bigger hail comes, it doesn't smash it. We've been in a couple of beauty hailstorms, trust me. I watched whole trees get shredded. Remember that one in Riverston?
Oh yeah.
Just tore everything up, and it went like a tornado because the hailstorm came in, and we drove either side of where the hailstorm is. Nothing's been touched, but in that path, totally destroyed. Not one piece of foliage, and we had 2 big old palm trees at the back, and the palm tree would look like that, just everything shredded. Is that your legal limit, VMAC? 4 plants? Because they're talking here 2 plants, which is not really smart for pollination reasons alone. You're out there with a little dust all the time trying to plant them. But 4 makes sense because you can cross-pollinate. Do you do your own pollination as well? Do your own pollination, you get bigger heads, apparently. So I'm told. Yeah, you had both cars buggered, didn't you? You don't even want to know, Dave. Well, we'll talk about 2 ounce. That's what we buy. It's 50 gram. 2 ounces of tobacco in Australia is $84. 2 ounces of tobacco in Europe is $4. The 80 is tax. For the last, JP might be able to back me up, but I think it's the last 14 or 15 years, they've increased the tax on tobacco. A packet of cigarettes was like $3 20 years ago. Well, JP can give you a better idea, but if you bought a packet of 20, you're probably paying 25 bucks.
A packet of smokes is about 50.
50 is about 60 bucks or something.
50 Australian dollars for about 25 cigarettes, isn't it, JP? Or something like that.
So we probably smoke a couple of 2 ounces a week, so there's 160. And I feel sorry for people who are smokers, who aren't working. They'd have to ration themselves. Cheap packet of Winfield Gold 25s is 34. There you go. That's what they are for 25s. That's a cheap price. Yeah, no, you're not going to get that here. And you know, if I visit other countries like we've done recently and we come back to Australia, do you know how much tobacco I can bring back? 1 packet.
And 25 gram.
And a 25 gram or 1 ounce packet of tobacco.
Or 1 pack of
Or 1 packet of 20s. Government here is tight as you wouldn't believe. The smokers in Australia should have the best health plan going.
But isn't our fuel cheaper?
Well, it's the object of the exercise is to stop people smoking. That's it.
Isn't our
Through the
fuel-
pocket.
isn't
But
our-
I can tell you, I know poor people who have virtually not fed their kids. They get another packet of ciggies.
fuel's cheaper here than America?
No, gas prices here are horrendous. I pay $1.60 at the moment, which has gone down a litre, which I think converts to about $6 or $7 a gallon US. A bottle of scotch, just like a Jack Daniels, close to $50. 3.5 litres to a gallon. All right, so $1.60 would be $24.80 plus half of that, 90, $5.70, close to $6 a gallon.
Yeah, I agree there, mate.
Yeah, I understand, but you can see the pressure that people on that have a habit of smoking, and then they, like I say, it's only been the last 10, 15 years that they've whacked this tax on. It's absurd. A lot of people have just given up because they can't afford it. And we roll our own, but believe it or not, it's not because of the cost. It's that we prefer smoking a tailor-made, as we call them, a packet of cigarettes. Tastes like shit to us. We've smoked rollies nearly all our lives. So we roll our own, and we get quite a lot of cigarettes out of it. I find, what's that? My kids are grown, hope to. Look, and the other thing, Carol, we got 5 kids and none of them smoke. It's a generation that didn't smoke. And that's where it's ending. I think my generation, and maybe a little bit more, maybe JP's age, I don't think there'll be any. I'm pretty sure JP nieces don't smoke. It's just, it's so, like I say, you talk about living costs. No, we don't want to vape. Not interested in vaping. I've got friends. We caught up with Blinky last year, and she showed us. And I thought, nah.
It's amazing what some things cost, actually. I was just sitting thinking when you talk about prices, and I know it's not like Vicks, simple Vicks rub for when you've got a cold on your chest. When you buy a brand Vicks, I don't know, little shit cup like that, how much would that be?
Well, $6.
No, the size.
Oh, it'd only be an ounce. Small.
$10.
Yeah.
But if you buy the shop
I'm missing
brand,
all the...
if you buy the shop brand one, it's only $2. So
We rarely drink, Dave, ever. I've got a house full of alcohol. You name it, I got it.
water, coffee,
No, we got scotches, and wines, and
drink of
liqueurs, and port. I've got a beautiful port in there. Galway Pipe, it's called. I don't know if JP's ever tried it. But I tend to like to have a drink with a meal, which we do. During summer, I'll certainly sit down with the kids at the back, have a barbie and have a beer or two, but that'll be the extent of it. I've never been a big drinker. I think vaping's a good idea in its principle and I don't say stop smoking, but to replace smoking. Look, I'm going to give you, I'm old and I've known lots of older people above me that have died, and most of them, now this is not kidding, all smoked, all right? The generation above me. Now the problem is a lot of them in their like 60s or early 70s decided, oh, I better stop smoking.
Around 70 they stopped, yeah.
And then they die. Is that just an Australian phenomenon? Older people stop smoking, then they get something awful and die. There's a doctor in Australia who actually once said it's possible that after continual smoking for such a long period, that if you give up, the body reacts. Now, I'm not saying he's correct, but I just mentioned my facts of a lot of older people I've known that have given up smoking and then die. Yeah, we drink, but we drink rarely, do we?
Probably been 3 months since we've had one.
Yeah, it's probably been 3 months since we had a drink. No, I had a little nip of port about a month ago.
Yeah, but nothing.
I just wanted to see if the bottle was good.
Nothing for 3 months, really. Today, with lunch, I would have had a wine, but
Yeah.
then I realised
They don't
didn't
sell it.
alcohol.
In the Chinese restaurant we went to, they didn't sell any alcohol.
And
I was looking forward to a beer, actually.
I don't know if you could have bought your own. I didn't think to ask that.
It's just... yeah, I think drinking every day is not a good thing. That's a personal opinion.
Well, it depends how much. If you have one, that's fine. Sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
I go through stages, a little glass of wine every evening, but I haven't done that in 3 or 4
JP,
months.
see, he drinks way too much coffee.
Oh yeah, I drink too much coffee. Oh, Dan, you had to say coffee, JP.
I don't drink as much as the wife does. I have a cup of tea in the morning first. I like a cup of tea in the morning. And then when the wife gets out of bed 3 hours later, she'll make a coffee for the pair of us. And then I might have another coffee with her, but I then go, whoa. But you could have 6 or 7 coffees a day, easy.
I have cut down.
Yeah, but I generally have about a cup of tea and a couple of cups of coffee.
But now I want to go and make a coffee.
But we're going to have a coffee now, because we've been talking about it.
These things happen, Carol.
Well, yeah, no, it's one of those things. I mean, if his drinking is causing you a problem, you have every right to say something. Yeah, I think a little bit of everything is a good idea, VMAC. A lot of something's not. But I've always known, like, there's a couple of renowned alcoholics on YouTube, as we know. Well, when I say couple, we could say a couple hundred, but the problem is social interaction after you're drunk. It's not really possible. Caffeine keeps me awake.
No, I'll go make us a coffee now. It's probably about this time of the night we have our last cuppa. It doesn't keep us awake. The only thing that makes me is pee a lot.
I think, like say, any sort of things we like chocolate is a great example. We love chocolate.
Yes.
We tend to buy a bar of chocolate and we break it into tiny little pieces and we eat all at once. Begin. What is it?
Spider.
Oh, Carol, we've got a spider here.
Jesus. Get short away.
He's not going to hurt you. Leave the poor little bugger alone.
No, he's freaking 10 feet tall.
Tiny little spider.
Don't. You'll freak Carol out. Don't show her.
Look at this little bugger. I mean, it's so small.
Away.
Come back here, you're on YouTube, you bastard. Stop. There you go. Now you're an international celebrity. It's a grass spider. It's never going to hurt you.
Carol's. I'm not so close to my face. Carol's.
Nah, it's just a grass spider, mate.
It's not a white thing, Johnny.
Carol's not looking. You wuss.
Where'd it go?
I think it went into the bed sheets.
Where?
It's inside under your pillow.
Where did it go?
At 2 o'clock this morning, you'll feel its bite. Sorry, Carol, I'm just doing that for you.
No, it's not a funnel web. It's what they call a.
Yeah, you get funnel webs in Sydney. We get the
I'll have to watch the
Black
video
Widow.
back.
And we get loads of redback. Mate, our state is redback country. Carol would never come here
Tell me where he went.
and into the bush.
Right, now I know.
He went walkabout. He's bringing all his friends back later at night.
Now funnel webs are bigger and hairier than that. So
I could tell you a story, Carol, but close your ears. We used to go fishing up north at a place called Dirk Hartog Island, and the entrance to Shark Bay, basically. And we were sleeping up on a cliff, probably 60, 70 feet up from the bottom and into the ocean. But up the top had these natural limestone cavities formed over millions of years. And you could throw your sleeping bag in there. Well, on some occasions you got lucky because the big storm would punch up seaweed and it would dry and make like a natural bed. So we had a little campfire in the middle between his little hollow and my hollow, my mate. And then had a few drinks, a bit of a chat, played the guitar for a little while, had a bit of fun, and then we went to sleep. My mate woke up before me, put the kettle on, and he said, I don't want to alarm you, but I reckon you should get out of bed about now. I said, what are you talking about? He said, just get out of bed. You know, there's a ghost in the window. So I jumped up, and he said, turn around, and he wiped off probably 200 or 300 cockroaches that were on my back, and all around my sleeping bag, all around it, were hundreds of the buggers. Big, what we call bush cockies. They're about 2 inches long with a white stripe down them. I'm sure JP has seen them. But being industrious as we were, we killed about 30 of them and we used them for bait. We caught several fish off them. But we didn't see them when we camped. They weren't there when we went to bed. They obviously thought, oh, warmth, it's cold. It was around about July, so it was pretty cool up there still. Yeah, so it's not like, say, if they were going to bite me, I would have known about it by about 2 in the morning, but all they did was snuggle up underneath, went down the sleeping bag, a fair few of them, never felt a thing. But he got up because he said, he told me later, he spent 5 minutes running around the edge of the cliff, bashing himself to get the cockroaches off him. And I'm a pretty sound sleeper, so I didn't hear any of that. But insects, like I say, in our country, we've got so many of them, truly. Don't worry about the crocodiles, the sharks, water buffalo, feral kangaroos, insects. We've got plenty of them. Oh, of course, we've got 7 of the most deadliest snakes out of 8 in the world here. You can tell I don't work for the Tourist Bureau, can't you? But Aussies aren't frightened of any of that stuff. It's there. It's like if you said to an Aussie, yeah, come out the back and I'll show you the black bear. They go, what? Because we don't see them. But all the other animals we do. I have a, why are they called? The grass spiders here have little white stripes up and down all their backs and legs. And they do bite. I've been bitten a few times, but just a sting, a bit like a bee sting. I was once bitten by a redback. I was trying to find a nail in a tyre, so I got my arm inside this old tyre. Well, I found the nail. I'm getting a bevel and pushing it out, and I got bitten on my forearm here. I thought, you little bastard. And then I had a look. It was a redback, about that big, with a belly about that big. I thought, shit. So a mate of mine, being industrious, grabbed some kerosene and a rag and wiped my arm. And didn't do anything. I went to the hospital, sat in a waiting room for 3 hours, vomited, And when I got to see a doctor, he said, actually, no, you're good. If it was going to kill you, it would have killed you about an hour ago. I said, thanks, mate. Went home. I used to love diving. I mean, my state is just beautiful with reefs. So I used to dive all the time. And I can tell you that it's unbelievable diving. The coral reefs, masses of fish. I always used to just pick out one fish and take it home, but I'd always have a bit of a faucet, get a couple of crayfish. And I remember I was putting my arm underneath a ledge trying to get this crayfish. And right next to me, pushing in on the other side, was a black-tipped shark. He wasn't interested in me at all. He wanted my crayfish. So I let go and said, you go for it, mate. But I've seen plenty of sharks underneath. I've caught sharks. I've eaten tons of sharks. But I've never been bitten, which is just as well. Because a lot of people die in Australia, they get attacked by sharks. It's not that the shark eats them. Shark takes a massive chunk and bites, and you bleed to death, sadly. We lose at least 2 in our state, people each year, to sharks. So I've been talking about fishing. Dave, where's me fucking fishing videos? Told you I'd come and watch any fishing video that you did. Still fucking waiting. Actually, who was it? Oh, wife's not here. Someone got chased down by a wasp the other day. I don't remember who it was. Scared the shit out of them. We get big wasps there too. Big mothers, big paper wasps. Good. Start doing fishing videos. Your name's fucking Dave the Fisherman, for fuck's sake. What is it? Oh, magpies, they can be mean. Actually, we feed our local magpies. What magpies do, they have facial recognition, literally, better than a computer. And each individual magpie interacts with you differently. But there are mobs of magpies. Like we've got 2 groups. There's about 9 in one group and about 10 in another. And when they come together, they have a bit of a barney. But they get to see you, and you feed them, and they come right up, and you can virtually pat them, and they will never attack you. But when you walk through a park that they don't know you, and JP can attest to this, they'll swoop, always wear a hat because they go to the surface. You're not wearing a hat, they'll take about 1/4 inch of skin off your head. Very, very much protective of their little nests are big magpies. Here comes the coffee. Instant coffee. It's Australian as it gets. And yes, we do make percolated coffee as well. But
Did you show them your nice floral cup?
the what?
Did you show them your nice floral cup?
That's my new cup. For those that are really interested, which is no one. I don't get to see the messages that long on here.
So the ladies that come to your yard, JP, do you put a bit of food out for them?
Yeah, you got to give them. We give them biscuits,
Oh, it should be.
and then if I'm cutting up some fresh meat, I'll, cut off some offcuts and make tiny little strings of them. They love that shit.
Yeah, you should give them like a meaty dog biscuit. Because they look at you and they actually remember and recognise you, and they won't attack you. Well, that's been our experience.
Do you remember Lance?
Yes.
He had a mate's dog he had to look after for a while, and he never had animals. So he put the dog food outside. And he come home because he did 12-hour shifts. And when he come home, he said, bloody dogs, just scoffs it down. And then his neighbour, Lynn, come over and said, no, your dog's not eating the dog biscuits at all. Big mob of magpies coming. Polish it off in seconds. This dog's getting skinnier and skinnier. And my mate Lance was thinking, geez, that dog eats a heap of food.
Yeah, they do.
Magpies.
They do like dog biscuits. But JP, bread's not the best thing to give them. I'd actually stop giving them bread.
Swells up in them.
Yeah, like bread's not good for any.
You know those cheap biscuits at Coles and Woolies,
But-
JP, you know the shortbreads?
Even that.
Just break them up into little bits. They love that.
Even that's no good.
No, but as a for them to know that he's not an enemy in his yard.
Yeah, but just get dog biscuits to feed them.
We see lots of chicken hawks here. They're actually like an eagle, a wingspan of about 10 or 12 feet.
Now
That's a hawk.
Yeah, you don't give bread to anything because it swells up. They say if you moisten the bread first, if you yourself make the bread wet.
Mm.
But if you give them to them like fresh bread or whatever, it's not good for them.
But one thing I detest, and it's just me, it's my personal view, I don't like any animals in cages. I do not. No, we lose dogs here all the time. Dave, we've got particularly chihuahuas or little terriers. Poster on the local news agent. Have you seen my dog?
There was a news story from England the other day that a seagull picked up someone's pet chihuahua and flew off with it.
Unfortunately, the chihuahua. We nearly lost our chihuahua years ago. Remember?
Yeah, but it wasn't to a seagull.
No, our little chihuahua did a massive right-hand turn on the lawn, and this bloody eagle come down and went off. But it was after her, which is only a tiny little thing. So yeah, no, dogs go missing all the time in this country. Up in Darwin, chicken hawks is like their natural breeding ground in the wetlands. And you go to the tip, I remember going to the tip many times, and there'd be thousands of these things. All massive wingspans on them.
Just for Carol's, what sort of bird are on your porch, Carol? What are they? Do you know? She said the birds on her porch will attack you.
See you, JP. Have a good day, mate. Friday, down the RSL. We're sport for birds here. We get, I tried to work it out the other day, we get about 60 to 70 types of parrots alone. Loads of indigenous birds, like little woolly wagtails they're called, probably a bit like their bluebirds. What are those bluebirds called in the US?
Bluebirds?
Yeah, there's a bluebird thing they call in the US. It's a bit like our woolly wagtail.
Oh,
Anyway, blue jay. I think I'm thinking blue jay. But we get hummingbirds, we get heaps of finches. Place we live down south, we had hundreds of finches every day just come in to swoop. We used to make up a little mix of coconut desiccated with breadcrumbs, and they go ape over that. They're like little darts though. I'll be sitting in a chair and just hundreds go straight past you. Yeah, so we sport for wildlife. In the mornings you get the kookaburras. That's as Aussie as it gets for a bird. They'll come and sit on the big tree over there normally, and I never film it. I always bloody forget. I just sit there and listen to it. But they're beautiful in the morning. And then we've got magpies who imitate them. So I think, oh, the kookaburras are going. You look up and there's a magpie. You've got one magpie that talks. Comes over and says, hello, how are you? But magpies can talk. How long have you been in Australia? Since 1770, Carol? Oh, you mean me, personally. But 1770 is the official. 1969 for me, and the wife was born here. How long have you been in the Antarctic for, Carol?
yes, Captain Cook.
Actually, no, see, in my state, we've got, I think, 15 big Dutch wrecks, because we've got a lot of reefs. I was explaining all the reefs we've got. And a mate of mine, Max, actually found the Batavia, which is the most famous of the Dutch wrecked ships. And that ship was sunk just off where I used to live in 1580. So the Dutch were in this country well before the English. However, way up north on the Kimberley coast, there have been found Viking relics. Those Vikings weren't everywhere. Seriously. I was born in 1812, so you're way off on your dates, Dave. But yeah, so the Vikings. And I reckon even before the Vikings, people like the Polynesians, they were here. But most people that came here got off and said, shit, it's hot. And they got back on the boat and said, let's go home.
Oh,
But on this particular wreck called the Batavia, they found masses of gold. It was a trading vessel and got the trade winds. If you've studied the trade winds, you know that there's the loop that they followed. Unfortunately for them, it was a bit of an anomaly at the time, and they went down. No, Botany Bay was never a prison colony. It was a landing site. They went inland from there, out through Macquarie and up near the Blue Mountains.
can't matter.
But in my state, there are probably still relics of the colonies, you know, the prisoners that built all sorts of buildings all over my state. And some are well preserved, some are not, some are just ruins now. But there's a place called Witcherina, which is about 400 miles from here, where the local governor of the state first lived. And I'm not kidding you know when a house is well built, you look at the architrave, like the skirting boards around a house. Most skirting boards are only about that big now. These were 1.5 foot tall and about 3 inches thick, and they were beveled and carved. Then the stairway was something like out of the Titanic movie. This house was fascinating. It had the workers' quarters outside in a quadrangle. So you'd have the cleaner, the cook, the maids, the milkmaids, you name it. There's about 10 rooms down the bottom, 2 to a room, tiny little rooms. And a butler's shaft where they could go up into the kitchen and never be seen upstairs, because they used to have a little butler, which is a wind-up thing for meals. But these old colonial homes are massive. Been no different in the US. So in the US, they're the same influence we did, the British and the French. So all those old homes are massive all around the world when they colonised countries. It was meant to be an imposition. You look at the local governor and he's in a house like a castle. You think, shit, he must be important.
My battery's going to die. I'll go in a minute.
Yeah, mine's just about dead too. So we're going to lose you shortly, guys, because my phone's about to die. I'll give you another 3 or 4 minutes, because the iPhone's a bugger when you let it die completely. But if you wanted to come to Australia and learn about the history, we don't have a long history, but jagged history. Like you've probably heard of Ned Kelly. Yeah, let's call him a butler here, Dave. Dumb way to what you're saying is, but used to be called a butler. Ropes and pulleys. Yep. Actually, it was always built strong enough for what they call the butler boy. It's another term from the actual mechanism. A butler boy would be somebody who would go up very quietly after the meal was finished and put all the dirties on a tray and put them in the butler, and he'd stay up there until he'd finished and cleaned the table. Then the maids went up and cleaned the floor and, you know, all the bones that the blokes had thrown off. But yeah, they used to have a butler boy. So you couldn't be older than about 6 or you'd get crushed. But that was our main purpose going to Europe. We were looking at history. I remember a lot of it when I was a kid, but I didn't appreciate it as much as I did when I went back then. Oh, well, you can't go anywhere. Apparently you told me that years ago. Can't fly, can't leave the country.
Carol
Maybe you need to learn to swim.
Carol says she needs the roller thing. You can get them online, Carol.
The roller machine. We got this in Earl's Court. So if you Google Earl's Court London tobacconist, you're going to find that. And that's what it looks like.
Black.
And the beauty of these, they've got a nice cloth roller. This is a nice black cloth roller, not a plastic bloody thing. So yeah, and I think it was 14 quid or 13 quid or something, so about 20 bucks US.
Okay.
So Earl's Court, do you want to just type that in for her? Earl's Court tobacconist.
Well, it wasn't called Earl's Court Tobacconist.
No, but it's Earl's Court and it's a tobacconist.
So that, yeah. It was
And she can go online and see the black one, she'll know what she's getting.
So Earl's Court is the little area, the street, the suburb.
It's a suburb.
Yeah, Earl's Court's a suburb in England.
That's it, Earl's Court. And then just Google for tobacconist. He had heaps of stuff in this shop, you name it, pipes, different roller machines, but these are the ones we like. Like I say, it takes no time to roll a ciggy. But yeah, the history going back this time, being older, I appreciated a lot more than when I was younger. Like, it's the second time I went to the British Museum.
and it's bloody massive now, because it wasn't that big when I went. It was just the old building. Now there's like the old building, massive courtyard, several layers. We stayed for hours and hours and hours, and we only saw half of what was there. It is so unbelievable. If you're going to go to the British Museum in London, allow at least a couple of days. And it wasn't hot, so we were fit enough to walk around. It was just the expanse of all the exhibits. It was incredible, and it was magnificent. We of course headed straight for the Egyptian Centre, which was fantastic. Yeah, you buy filters separately. Like that, you get different thickness filters. These are quite small, they're not that big. You
Super slim.
judge from my fingernail. So that's the thickness of them. You get a couple of hundred in the packet for about $2 or $3. The papers, we buy boxes of these, about 5 in a box.
Yeah.
And that's close to $4, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we get about, and you get cheaper papers if you want, but these are 50 or 60 to a pack.
There's no point showing them. I don't think
50.
Terry Howard, I think it's only in Australia.
No, but just saying.
Yeah.
This paper was the original made in Australia. It tells you that. But it's also always had on it a measure. See that there? Got a bit too close. It's always, in its whole lifetime for about 100 years, had a measuring down the bottom,
Sounds like rain.
which I thought was quite unique.
I'll have to turn my phone off.
It's now in centimetres though. It used to be in inches. When I first smoking, they were in inches. Oh, just check my battery. It's not looking good. Anyway, you're going to enjoy the rest of the day. You're just starting your day. We're just winding down on ours. Have a good one. Be kind to people. Win the lotteries. That will certainly make your day more enjoyable. And if you don't do that, at least have a laugh. So from the boss
Right.
and me, good night.